Fahrenheit 451 by Bradbury. What happens when knowledge becomes a crime? In Ray Bradbury's world, fire trucks don't race to douse flames. They come roaring through the night to incinerate books, pages curling, wisdom turning to ash, and silence celebrated like salvation. This isn't fiction reaching into the future. It's a mirror held up to a world too afraid to think. The television worlds never sleep. The people laugh, but their eyes are hollow. Their minds are fed bright colors and loud noises, but starved of depth, starved of truth. No questions, no debates, no pain, just pleasure, manufactured and manic. The world has been sanitized, sterilized, scrubbed of discomfort, and with it, all meaning has bled away. Knowledge, dangerous. Books, treasonous. Thinking, a threat to peace. So they burn. They burn the books, and with them, the souls of the people. In the middle of the fire stands Montag, the fireman who thought he was the hammer of justice, until he realized he was the hand of oppression. He thought he was saving the world. Turns out he was erasing it. He lived among ashes and never asked why, until a teenage girl named Clarisse dared to notice the rain, the leaves, the stars, and him. She didn't fit, so she vanished. And that's when Montag's fire finally lit from within. Bradbury didn't write a cautionary tale. He wrote a confession, because the scariest truth in Fahrenheit 451 is that it isn't about tomorrow. It's about right now. The world where books die isn't built in one day. It begins when thinking becomes inconvenient, when people trade depth for comfort, when curiosity is replaced with noise. This novel is a scream, smothered under sirens and smoke, a love letter to rebellion, to pages with power, to minds that dare to stay awake when the world begs them to sleep. Welcome to Fahrenheit 451. Let's open the book they tried to erase. Let's feel the heat. Section 1. The World on Fire. In Bradbury's world, silence doesn't exist. The air is thick with noise. TVs that cover every wall. Radios whispering in your ear. Highways that race by so fast you can't see the world, only feel the blur. People don't talk. They don't think. They escape constantly. The addiction isn't to drugs, it's to distraction. And in the middle of all this glittering emptiness, books are outlawed. Not because they are dangerous in the traditional sense, but because they do something far worse. They make you uncomfortable. They force you to feel, to wonder, to wrestle with questions that don't come with clean answers. And that's messy. That's inconvenient. The terrifying twist? This censorship didn't start from above. It wasn't some evil empire demanding obedience. No. People handed over their thinking willingly. They voted for ease over effort, for comfort over complexity. They wanted happiness, and books got in the way. So the government didn't have to silence them. They silenced themselves. And enforcing all this, the fireman. But not the kind that saves lives. These firemen burn them. They torch history, poetry, philosophy, anything with depth. Fire isn't their weapon. It's their cleansing ritual. A bright, beautiful purge of anything that dares to be difficult. The tragedy? No one questions it. No one is bothered until Montag begins to ask, what are we really burning? As Bradbury writes, we need not be let alone. We need to be really bothered once in a while. How long is it since you were really bothered? What happens when we scroll more than we think? When the algorithm becomes our philosophy? When we binge stimulation and starve introspection? This isn't just fiction. It's a warning. Ready for the crack that shakes Montag's world open? Let's move to the next section. Section 2. Guy Montag. the man who lit up inside. At first glance, Guy Montag is the system's dream. He doesn't ask questions. He flips the switch, holds the hose, and watches the flames dance. He believes he's saving the world by burning it. There's a mechanical pride in his every move, a hollow confidence that only comes from never having to think too hard. But then comes Clarisse, a 17-year-old storm disguised as a whisper. She doesn't rage against the world. She marvels at it. She notices the dew on the grass, the stars above the city, the smell of old leaves, and she asks the kind of questions that don't have answers. Are you happy? Do you ever read the books you burn? And just like that, Montag begins to crumble. Or maybe he begins to awaken. Clarisse doesn't hand him a manifesto. She hands him wonder. And in a society that is trained to kill curiosity, wonder is more dangerous than rebellion. The fireman who used to set fires now finds one raging inside his chest. He starts to feel the weight of silence, the ache of not knowing, the burn of guilt, and it all crashes when he sees a woman choose to burn alive with her books rather than live without them. He's haunted by it. Not just the flames, but the why. There must be something in books, he thinks, something we can't imagine, to make a woman stay in a burning house. So when was the last time someone's innocence shook your beliefs? We talk about role models, but sometimes it's a quiet soul asking the wrong questions at the right time that reprograms your entire reality. And just like that, Montag isn't burning books anymore. He's burning to know why. Section 3 is where that fire gets out of control. You ready? Section 3. The woman who burned for books. Montag thought he understood fire. It was clean, efficient, final. It erased the mess, the noise, the danger of thought. But on one ordinary raid, that illusion burned down with the house. The fireman broke in, kerosene in hand, ready to douse another outlaw's hoarded books. But the woman inside didn't beg. She didn't scream. She stood still, calm, as if she was exactly where she belonged. And then she said it, a sentence from the ashes of history. Play the man, Master Ridley. We shall this day light such a candle by God's grace, as I trust shall never be put out. She struck the match herself. She chose the flames. And Montag watched her become something no fire could truly destroy. Everything the system had told him, that books were dangerous lies, that no one cared about them anymore, that fire was peace, crumbled in that moment. Because if books are meaningless, where would someone choose to die with them? Her death wasn't just rebellion. It was devotion. And that shook Montag more than any lecture or law ever could. For the first time, he saw that fire could illuminate as much as it consumed. That night, he didn't just leave a burning house. He left behind the man he thought he was, and deep inside him, something began to smolder. It wasn't anger, not yet. It was the beginning of a question that wouldn't let him sleep. Because now he knew, you don't stay for nothing. How much would you risk for truth? In a world where people trade discomfort for distraction, who would choose the flame? Section 4. The lie of happiness. Montag comes home to find his wife lifeless on the bed, a bottle of sleeping pills emptied like a quiet scream. No drama, no note, just silence. The medics arrive, not doctors, just technicians with snake-like machines, and pump her stomach like it's routine, because it is routine. Overdosing is as normal as breakfast in this world. By morning, Mildred doesn't remember a thing. She wakes up hungry, chipper, even asking for more time with her family, not real people, but the giant, glowing TV walls that whispers sweet nothings and call her by name. She believes they love her. that they see her, but behind those screens is nothing but noise. She is full of static and utterly terrifying hollow. This is what the world has traded truth for. Peace without meaning. Smiles without joy. Mildred is the face of the system's success. Always entertained, never aware. No conflict, no pain, no reflection, just numbed out bliss with a price tag. And Montag is beginning to see it. Happiness here isn't joy, it's anesthesia, a fog over every room. And as he watches his wife dissolve into empty chatter with her glowing walls, he realizes this isn't living. This is forgetting you're alive. Bradbury's words cut deep here. We're living in a time when flowers are trying to live on flowers, instead of growing on good rain and black loam. This world is starving. It's overdosing on sweetness and dying from the lack of roots. No storms, no soil, just synthetic petals. So, is the happiness we chase today really nourishing us? Or are we just scrolling, smiling, and slipping further into numbness? Section 5. The Escape and the Exiles. When Montag finally snaps, it's not a quiet rebellion. It's flight. Full speed, breathless, hunted by a mechanical hound that smells guilt like blood. The chase is savage, primal. He's not a man anymore, but prey. A rogue spark running from a system built to kill curiosity. And yet, outside the walls of the city, past the neon haze and the ruins of numbness, he finds something ancient, something alive. The book people. Rebels, not with guns, but with memories. They've become the books themselves, each one carrying a piece of lost truth in their minds. Novels, scriptures, philosophies, all burned to ash in the city, are alive here, walking, talking, breathing in the bodies of outcasts. They don't plan a war. They wait. They persevere. Because one day, the world would need the stories again. And when that time comes, they'll be ready to plant knowledge like seeds in scorched earth. Montag becomes one of them, not just a runaway, but a guardian of thought. A man who once burned pages now becomes a page himself, a vessel. Ray Bradbury gives us this raw, defiant reminder. Stuff your eyes with wonder. Live as if you drop dead in 10 seconds. Because life, real life, is too fragile for numbness, too short for silence. And these exiles, they are the souls of resistance, not by force, but by memory. In a world where truths are buried and knowledge scrolls by in seconds, what are you preserving? What truths are you keeping alive? Section 6. The end or the beginning? And then silence. The city, once blazing with noise, screams, distractions, falls, not by rebellion, not by revolution, but by fire from above. Bombs rain down and wipe the slate clean. The world that banned books, silenced thoughts, and called ignorance bliss is gone, reduced to rubble. But out in the wilderness, the book people stand untouched. They watched the sky burn and survived, not because they fought back, but because they remembered. The same fire that destroyed has now purified. It's the strange duality of flames. They can erase, but they can also forge. And as the ashes drift through the air like grey snow, Montag walks forward, no longer a fireman, no longer lost. He carries no weapon, no map, just memory, just meaning. Because the real battle was never about books. It was about remembering. And now, that memory is all that is left to rebuild something better. maybe gentler, maybe wiser. And when someone finally asks what they are doing, these wandering, quiet rebels, Montag will answer with the most powerful resistance there is. We are remembering. If the world reset tomorrow, would you still remember what truly mattered? Would you carry the stories that built us? This isn't just an ending. It's a warning, a call, a spark, and maybe, just maybe, a beginning. Why does Fahrenheit 451 still matter today? Because we live in a world where noise drowns out thought, where we scroll endlessly through distractions, but forget how to sit quietly with our own minds. It's not just about burning books. It's about the slow, quiet erosion of curiosity. We binge on shallow content, but keep the deeper questions. Censorship, in Bradbury's world, wasn't about restricting access to books. It was about nurturing an appetite for ignorance, a culture that chooses comfort over discomfort, simplicity over depth. Bradbury wasn't warning us about a totalitarian government. He was warning us about the very choices we are making right now. How easy it is to trade meaningful engagement for hollow satisfaction. We are the ones holding the matches, and the fire still burns.